welcome back to Studio Lou. It's Cindy. So today I thought it might be kind of fun to do like a little tutorial on something that I just kind of created today. So these are the prototypes. I will bring them up a little bit closer so you can see them. And what they are like little wildlife images that were printed on fabric, actually a t-shirt that's now too small for my daughter that I really fell in love with. And they are like almost like little stamps. Like I started with the concept of making a little stamp, but then ended up liking them as free-form images on their own. So what they are is they are sewn onto book page paper so that they can be glued into a journal. So I thought I would just show you how to make these little fabric freeform stamps, because they're really fun and really easy, and I am in the use it up kind of mode right now. So what I have, I do have more of that t-shirt, but what I also have is this adorable little dress with these little parakeets on it. So I have this real problem with like not wanting to let go of certain things that my daughter has grown out of, and this definitely she has grown out of. It's too little now. So I, however, would love to make some of those little stamps out of this to just kind of enjoy this fabric a little bit more and remember this dress, because I love this fabric so much. So essentially this is very easy to do. Let me just grab a couple pieces of paper here. So I just am using book pages. So what I'm doing is basically I want something that's just kind of manageable. I don't want anything too huge. So I'm going to just take glue stick and just kind of do a crisscross here on one book page, and stick two pages together. Then we don't need glue stick anymore. Then I'm going to basically just get a piece of the fabric that is the same size as the book page and cut it out. So I'll just actually use the book page as a guide. I'm going to use scissors to do this, but you could very easily put this down on like your fabric mat and just cut it with a rolling cutter. And then you just want to kind of look at what you're capturing, because you want to try to get as many full images as you can on the piece of paper. So I'm just going to line it up because I can see that there's a bird tail right here. So I'm just going to line that up and I'm going to lay it down. And I know I'm going to lose the top of this bird, but it's okay. There's a lot of birds on here, so I'm not really too concerned about it. So I just have to grab my scissors here. Okay. So I'm going to do this a little awkwardly because I'm on camera, but and these are not fabric scissors. Holy cow. Okay, you know what? I think I'm just going to turn it around and I'm not so awkward. This is going to be a little easier. There we go. So, like so, like so. Okay, and let me just grab these other scissors. Cutting fabric with paper scissors is a bit of a nightmare. Oops, do we have it? Yeah, okay. Just making sure I'm not cutting more than one layer. Oh gosh, these scissors are just... I gotta get my fabric scissors. Okay. There we go. And then I know I can just cut right up the seam here, so I'm going to do that. Okay, the hard part's over. All right, so now here we go. We have our piece of fabric with our birds. Now, what I'm going to do is just lay this down, making sure that all of the intact birds are fully on the paper as much as possible. Okay, so that's how we want that. So now you might not be able to see every aspect of this, and just a fair warning right now that there is going to be a little bit of noise. I know some people don't like to listen to sewing machines and videos, so I recommend that you mute right now because I'm going to be sewing. Okay, I'll just move this over a little bit here. So the objective at this point is to just, we're going to sew down this side just to attach this to the paper, okay? Okay, so let me just show you. All right, next step here, that we've attached this to the paper, you'll see there, is that we're going to essentially stitch either a square or a free-form shape around each of these birds that we want to capture. So what I do is I stitch all the way around, then I break my thread. Then I go to the next one and I stitch it all the way around. So at the end of this, you're going to see that I have a whole bunch of these birds all stitched around. So I'll do the first one with you, and then I'm going to pause and I'll finish the rest and I'll come back after that. Oops, we lost the thread, of course. Every now and then that happens with this old machine that I use, but that's okay. Okay, let's just take the fabric out, that'll be easier. Threading machines is not my favorite thing in the world, and I feel very spoiled by my actual sewing machine that I use for sewing because of the threader. Okay, so let's try that again. We're going to go right around this blue bird. And then time to turn. Out of the way for a minute here. Okay, so here's what we have. See, I've sewn all the way around this bird. So I'm going to pause you while I stitch around all the rest of the birds. But as you can see here, I will now move on to this one, then this one, then this one, then this one. And I might get this one, but I think I actually lopped off his face. So actually, you know what I can do though? I actually did this with the other ones I created, is I'm going to sew him to another piece of paper and just sew, like stitch it all together. So I will do that. Then when I'm done that, I will come back to you. So I'll just do this sewing right now and then we'll do the rest together. Okay, and we're back, and all of these birds are stitched around. So I'll just bring you a little closer so you can see how I have stitched around them. And so now what I'm going to do, actually I should say a few things first. So here's an example of something that's kind of important. Sorry for the noise, it's our motion sensor on my phone. So around this edge, like right in between here, I noticed I had a little bit of kind of rippling fabric. There's a little bit too much fabric there. So what you do, because this is a stretch, like a t-shirt fabric, any kind of like different fabrics will act differently. Like normal cottons won't act this way, but anything with a stretch will give you a bit of trouble from time to time, but nothing major. picture. So the thing to do when you're sewing is just make sure that you've tightly stretched your image that you're stitching around, because once you've stitched around it, it's going to maintain that flat, tight, you know, pull that you did. So that's one thing to note. Another thing to note is here, I didn't have a whole bird. So this is still going to be very cute though, even though I'm not going to have the tail in the picture. It's still going to look like a cute little bird kind of stamp. And then what else? So you'll see that these birds, they kind of don't like line up in straight lines, but they are far enough apart that I could do like essentially geometric shapes around them. Sometimes on certain fabrics, like this one second, you're going to end up doing geometric shapes because you don't have enough space between the animals to do, or between whatever objects to do like a square. So that is why you see I have these geometric or non-geometric shapes. You know, there's that little raccoon, like, so it's just a nice organic shape. The thing is, you could also kind of look at this fabric and decide that some things you can live without if you really wanted a square. Like if I wanted these two bunnies, I could just kind of get a square of just those two bunnies. So it's just a bit of decision making depending on what fabric you have. I'm actually looking forward to just like, look how cute this fabric is. You know, I didn't want to say goodbye to that and have nothing to celebrate with it. So, because it's so nice. Now, another fabric that I'm planning to use a bit of for this technique is this one. So it's this beautiful, this is a cotton and it has some metallic in it with lots of butterflies. So this is the one I was thinking more in line with maybe making little postage stamp things. So like little square postage stamp looking things. But yeah, so that's what I'm thinking I might want to do with this technique. So now let's just cut them out, and it's easy peasy. You just cut around your stitches. Make sure you don't cut through your stitches. Now when I'm sewing, I start at one end and I go all the way around, and at the very end I sew a little bit past the line that I made. I don't knot them or anything. I don't need to worry about that. I don't really feel like it's going to unravel or fray like beyond, you know, the stitch line, so it doesn't really concern me. So one thing you might notice is that depending on the fabric you have, it might kind of come up a little bit. You can just kind of trim the excess if you don't want that like little extra. Just as it stands up, you can kind of just trim it off. You could expose a bit of the book page too if you want. I kind of like how that looks. Or you can just kind of pull on it and it will fray, and like just kind of enjoy, you know, doing different things. But there is your little piece of ephemera for a journal card or anything really. You could stick it onto a journal page. So yeah, I really enjoy making these. I just kind of thought of it today as I was working on something else, and I sort of have been feeling a lot like I want to use things up today. So that's how I got into this. I just sort of was in a use it up mode. Come on. There we go. Just a little difficult to go over the seam. It's a little bit thicker. And yeah, you just basically cut around each of them. Oops. Just trim my thread here. And like I had mentioned, I had run out of paper here, so I did just stitch another piece of paper to the fabric so that I would have enough to capture this bird. Another thread there. Okay, 2 to go. And then one more. get rid of these scraps here, and I will show these to you. Threads. There we go. So out of that little piece of fabric, let me just snooze that alarm, goodness. I got 6 little birds. So how super cute are these, right? And how easy. And it's a great way to use up fabric and, you know, use up old kids' clothes or other fabric and clothing that, you know, has worn out or you just, you know, don't like to wear anymore, whatever. So how cute are these little fabric stamps? I think you could also put batting behind them if you wanted to make them puffy. Yeah, so that is my little tutorial for today. I hope you enjoyed it. Super easy, super fun. Thanks for tuning in. All of my information is in the description box below. I'd love it if you subscribed. I am planning to do more of these little kinds of tutorials for making ephemera. And have a great day. Thank you. So I had an afterthought, guys, and it was that maybe I would show you how I used one of these on a journal card. So this is just a collage journal card on book page. And there we go with the little applique stamp, fabric stamp. So yeah, they are really cute.